Carlos, not the Carlos from LA, Carlos from Poland. He wrote to me yesterday, and he bought a Seiko SLA051. I'm wearing it here on a dive course strap. And he wrote to me that, thank you, McMahon. I'm just paraphrasing his comment. Thank you, McMahon. I got the Seiko SLA051 Wimura. It is my one and done. I don't need any more watches, thanks to you. I've deleted all my YouTube channels because I don't want to encourage my watch addiction anymore. You're the only surviving channel that I watch because you interrogate the watch madness, the watch addiction. I love your insights, and I was moved by the piece all the way from Poland. Carlos from Poland. Thank you, Carlos. And I started thinking, I really got to watch my P's and Q's. I have a lot of responsibilities, having a YouTube channel, because I do interrogate the watch addiction. And I started thinking, when you have a YouTube channel, there is a temptation to exaggerate, to do what I would call performative misery. We live in an attention economy. But it's more than economy, it's culture. And I think a lot of our self-esteem and our self-worth, in a misguided fashion, we define it by social media attention. It's a real Faustian bargain. I don't think we can get rid of it. I think the social media is here. I always say this, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We have to adapt to it. I think we are in the beginning stages. It's pathology. But we want attention so bad. Nigel Tufnell, in the great movie This Is Spinal Tap, 1984, he had to show his amp turned up to 11 because it was his classical expression of one-upmanship. And I think in social media, one-upmanship is a huge part of getting attention. And so if someone's talking about watch addictions and watch misery, there's almost a temptation, whether it's conscious or not, to turn up your addiction to 11. And I wouldn't want to do that. Honestly, I don't think I need to turn mine up to 11. It speaks for itself. It's pretty extreme all by itself. I can laugh at it. But the other thing that's weird about social media is that we just curate too much stuff to the point where it's absurd. Check this out, man. I was telling my students this the other day. We could be hiking in the Los Angeles National Forest, and we get bit in the lower leg by a rattlesnake. In the old days, before social media, our first thought would be, man, I need medical attention. I just got bit by a rattlesnake. Now it's, look at those fang marks. This would make a really good Instagram reel. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get the Wimura in the shot with my lower leg. Yeah, man. The desire for curation is it's pathological. So when I make these videos, I now, thanks to Carlos, I'm really making sure I don't try to turn things up to 11 Well, here's the thing I would say about our watch addiction. First of all, it is torment. It is torture. There is a form of misery to it. But after I read Carlos's message, I realized that you have to look at your watch addiction and do it in a way that you're not narcissistic. But what I mean by narcissistic is you don't want to blow it out of proportion. And I'll give you some examples. One of my challenges as someone who loves watches way too much is that whenever I imagine wearing a beautiful watch, I'm pretty vain. And I wonder, in my vanity, if when I'm wearing a watch, I imagine myself wearing it in a public space where people are admiring me and people are whispering, what watch is that man wearing? Woo, what good taste he has. Surely he is a man of high resources, good taste, and utmost importance. And I wonder if there's that really strong current of vanity below the thing. But here's what makes my personal watch obsession absurd. I do not occupy a lot of public spaces. So since the pandemic, there's been a huge demand at my college for online courses. And I'm not complaining about this. I'm 62, so my stamina for classroom lectures is down. So this is actually good for me. Since the pandemic, my in-class face-to-face is down 75% because most of my teaching content is online. It's on this thing called Canvas. And so I'm only teaching face-to-face 25% of the time. That's less watch time. I'm not complaining about it. To say I don't occupy enough public spaces to wear all these beautiful watches I have. So what, dude? Putting yourself on the pillow of self-pity in that regard is pathetic. It's narcissistic. And you should just be grateful, I say it myself, that you don't have to do a bunch of side hustles to make a living, where you're in, I'm not doing Instacart or Uber or something where I'm wearing, I don't think I want to wear a watch in public spaces. I'm pretty antisocial. When I go to family events, I'll visit with people for a half hour, I'll eat, and then I retire to the guest room and I take a nap and I get drool all over the pillows. Yeah, that's how. So otherwise, I'm shuffling around the house like Gollum, man. And so I always, what though? Yes, it's absurd that I don't occupy a lot of public spaces and I have these beautiful watches, but it's not a cause for self-pity or turning up the volume to 11. It's just absurd, and I can laugh at it. And so that's one area where I think that I don't need to do performative misery about it. And let me give you another example. So one of the things I believe in when it comes to watches is you should buy what you want. Don't let other people tell you what to get. When you're on social media, everyone's they have good intentions. They're always saying you need to get this watch, you need to get that watch. I suggest you get this watch. But you need to get what you want. And I'm going to be honest with you. Because I'm a watch addict, a lot of my desires are fleeting and capricious. I have dalliances, and so as a result, I've learned through experience, don't pull the trigger on a watch. Wait a month or two, wait 6 months, maybe it will change. But right now, let me tell you, the most beautiful watch that I've seen recently, and this could change. Talk to me next week, talk to me next month. So Citizen Atessa has a $2,200 watch. It's absolutely beautiful. It's based on a lunar lander. It's called the Hokuto R. And I think it's limited edition. I think there's like 1,900 of these watches available. They're about $2,200. And it's mostly black, but I don't know. It's gorgeous. It's mother of pearl dial. It has, it's titanium Duratect, of course. It's about 44 millimeters. It looks absolutely gorgeous, but I'm looking at it. And I do this with a lot of watches. This watch I wear, I look at that Citizen Atessa and it reminds me of is art, because a lot of my love of watches is not even about what watches I would put on my wrist and walk around in. When I get on my hands and knees and I have to check my daughter's computer cables, see if the plug's in properly. Yeah, I'm going to wear a Grand Seiko for that. Or when I change the smoke detector. He's wearing a Grand Seiko. Anyways, I look at this beautiful Citizen Atessa and I imagine it being a work of art in my living room in a showcase. I don't even imagine it. You know what I mean? There's like a disconnect. But I'm not going to go on the performative pillow of self-pity and tell you, oh, that's agony. So what? It's not that big a deal in proportion to everything that's going on in the world. And I wonder sometimes if in the self-centered, attention-getting world of social media, where we would want to put a snake bite on Instagram, if there's this inflated self-centeredness, maybe a more appropriate, not maybe, definitely a more appropriate way to look at that disconnect that I have between watches that I just love to look at, but would I really wear them, is just kind of laugh at it. It's absurd. It's not an occasion for performative misery. It's not an occasion for that. I'll give you another example. So there was a TG video about 6 months ago or so where he presented a hypothesis about the meaning of your watch collection. And he said, and I always think about this, you know, hypothetically, imagine you have, and I'm paraphrasing him, imagine you have unlimited resources to buy whatever watches you want. You know, all your desires. And, you know, we love watches. You know, we're like little kids in a donut shop. Little kids, they can't decide. They buy every single donut in the shop. If we had unlimited resources for watches, we would have warehouse after warehouse after warehouse after warehouse full of watches. We would have more watches that we could even look at. And TGV said your watch collection would have no meaning. It would be meaningless if you could just buy watches on impulse with unlimited resources. What gives your watch collection meaning is that you're focusing on things that you like. With limited resources, you're developing an aesthetic and so on and so forth. And, you know, ache, I think Jonathan Latham defined ache, is understanding the existential pain of human existence is that, forgive me, Jonathan Franzen wrote this in the Harper's around 1996 or so. I don't know why it just came to me right now, but ache with a capital A is when you come to that realization that your desires will always outrun your ability to satisfy them. And that's a human condition. I'm not going to give you guys performative anxiety and performative misery and throw myself on the pillow of self-pity because, oh, my desires for watches are such that I'll never satisfy them. That's called growing up, dude. When you go into a donut shop, which I don't think you should do, but if you do it once a year, part of being an adult is managing yourself. You know, I suspect we all do have a little kid in us. I know I have one. And the little kid comes out when you're looking at watches. And part of it is managing those desires. It's not a big deal, though. It's not something that you have to put on 11 for social media. And so when I read Carlos's comment, it makes me feel that I got to be real and not turn things up to 11. I'd rather just let the absurdity of our watch inclinations speak for themselves. Who needs to turn things up? They're pretty high on their own. So those are some examples. Having said all that, I won't lie to you guys, man. If a month or two passed and that Citizen Atessa is still available and I still love it, I don't know. I'd be tempted to buy it. It's such. I mean, why not? I mean, I buy watches that are the most beautiful to me. So if that's the most beautiful watch, I guess logic could say that I would buy it. But I don't know, man. I've been in the game for 20 years. I'm skeptical of my own watch desires. That's where I'm at in my watch collection. I don't even know if I trust myself. There was a song by Genesis called "The Trick of the Tail." Some kind of a creature tricks some guy into giving up his entire life to pursue a city of gold that doesn't exist or something. I don't know. I better go revisit those lyrics. The Trick of the Tail. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad Carlos has his 051, one and done. I may be too crazy for that, but I'm not going to throw myself on the pillow of self-pity and misery for some kind of performance. I'd rather just try to be reasonable here. Have I been reasonable today, ladies and gentlemen? You let me know in the comments section. Until next time, I'm out.